Hello, everybody. It's Angel Light Over Darkness 33. How are you doing tonight? I hope that you are well, and I hope that all the people that are in your family are doing well. I hope all your friends are doing well. I hope everyone you love is doing well. I pray the blessings of happiness, peace, and joy over you and everyone you love. As you come into the room, I ask that you like the video, share the video, and tell everybody you know that Angel Light Over Darkness is live and it's retreat week. It is our retreat week. It's not the kind of retreat I wanted to have, but I don't want to wait anymore. I want us to have a full retreat. So as you come into the room, you'll be answering questions regarding your spiritual awakening. That's what we're talking about tonight. Spiritual awakening. So I have Cool Gamer in the room. Hi, Cool Gamer. Good to see you. Jared Romero's listening from work. Hi, Jared. And then I have Tiff Rains in the room. Hi, Tiff. So we're waiting on the rest of the angels, but we're going to get started. So the topic of tonight is body, mind, and soul. Can you guys hear me okay? Please let me know. Are you hearing me okay? Okay, you can hear me good. Good, good, good. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, I want you guys to remember when when you had your initial awakening, when you first saw angel number 1111 and you wanted to know what it was about and you were excited because you've heard so much about it and you're like, what does it mean exactly for me? Right? What does it mean exactly for me? So, by a show of hands in the room, let me know how many of you saw angel 1111 as your first angel number. How many of you saw angel number 1111 as your first angel number? Okay. So Jared says yes, he saw. Oh no, he didn't answer yet. Jared, yes. Jared says yes. I'm jumping the gun. Okay. Okay. And you guys, I know we're not in a room and we're not, you know, asking you to contribute to the room and all of that. But this is our retreat and it's going to be just like there. Okay? It's going to be just like there. I'm going to be asking you to do physical things, spiritual things, and mental things that will help you with your spiritual awareness. Okay? So if you would, I'd appreciate it kindly if you would cash app, cash app, you know, funds towards the channel for our retreat. Okay, whatever you can, I'd appreciate it. So Jared says yes. Tiff, did you see angel number 1111 when you first had your awakening? You guys have to respond to me because I can't see you. You're not in front of me. Let me put the link down there though. I can do that. I'll put the link and then that way if you want to come up, you can. All right, there's the link. Now, hi, love to travel with Wave. This is our retreat week. The question is, have you seen Angel number 1111, when you initially um, became aware of of angels in your life and you became spiritually awakened. So Jared already told me he saw 1111. Did you happen to see Angel 1111? Okay. And I'll tell you about Angel number 1111. And angel number 1111 is like a wake up call. It's a wake up call. It's the way that God wakes you up into consciousness. You're awakened into a new reality, right? It's a code of activation, activation of you spiritually. You'll be activated spiritually. This is where you'll start getting your spiritual gifts. Okay. It's also seen as a key to unlock your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind. Now, let's talk about that. Your subconscious mind. Can anybody give me the definition for a subconscious mind? What is a subconscious mind? Yes. Yes. That means you're waking up. You're being summoned to waken up. It is a let me see. Let me see. Okay, there's Jared. Yay. Hey Jared.
Hello.
We're talking about 1111.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
uh-huh. Love to travel with waves says she knows what it is. Tiff says, yes, she's seen it more in the last 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And Love to Travel with Wave also said it's a thankful voice within you. I think that's what she means.
Hmm.
And what is your synopsis of 1111? What is your explanation for that?
My explanation for that is I knew it was a sign when I continuously kept seeing it and getting
Mhm.
certain feelings around when I saw it. It wasn't just seeing it. It was the feeling that I felt when I saw it, or the things that I was either talking about or thinking about when I saw it. So it was not only an inkling, but it was a knowing.
Ah, knowing, a knowing. That's great. That's
Hmm.
great.
And
Now
so,
I'm looking it up because it says more about your subconscious mind. Would you
yes.
say that your subconscious mind is like your second mind or your first mind?
Well, of course, they're both a part of the same, but I would say the subconscious is actually, um, people don't realize that it's actually the subconscious is your conscious, and your conscious is actually your subconscious.
Hmm.
Because when
Hmm.
you're conscious, you're aware of thoughts that you are letting slip by.
Right.
hmm
But
When
your
you're very,
subconscious catches what your first mind doesn't, right?
that's right, that's right.
It's
And
more
when,
active,
yes,
independent. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what was your experience when you had the spiritual awakening?
Mm, I'm sorry, can you rephrase that?
What was your experience when you had your first spiritual awakening?
My first experience was, well, I was raised Christian,
Mhm.
and my first, and of course, I know that everyone who comes to the channel isn't raised Christian, so I'm gonna just explain my testimony and my story. Um, Growing up, I have been to church, and I do know the Word, and I do know about the Holy Spirit and Jesus, how He died for our sins. But of course, I've never been able to have a personal encounter until I start encountering 1111. Now, prior to the 1111 awakening, I was already praying for personal encounters. I was praying for a moment with God so that I know. instead of me just saying, oh, I read the Bible and so I know that he died. I know this and I know that. Yeah, I can know that logically, but I wanted to understand it and know it spiritually. And
Yes.
so when I had my own awakening, it was in a subtle way that was very detailed. I asked for a very specific thing to happen, and it was happening. And what I mean by that is certain phrases would stick out to me on the radio.
Hmm.
Certain television shows or movies that I was watching were really sharp to me. And like I said, whenever I would catch these things, I would see 11:11.
Okay.
Something would turn my head towards the clock and see 11:11. And I just started paying attention to that more and catching it more than just consciously. I would catch it in my subconscious because I started putting these patterns together. And I realized that's what was happening. It was more of a synchronicity pattern that was happening over and over and over. And so that's when I became aware that this might be a message because I'm feeling this way and I'm watching or listening to this thing. So I'm asking for this prayer and it's being revealed to me in a very detailed way that I'm
Hmm.
receptive to versus somebody just preaching and talking at me.
Right. 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 It touched more than just your ears. It touched your heart, your mind, and your soul.
That's right.
Okay. So it gave you a wider sense of truth of yourself,
That's
of
right.
reality.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that.
Mhm.
Um, did you notice that you kept waking up or noticing this number? And then how long did it take for you to get to the next angel number after you saw that?
Um, the 11:11 was the initiation to my awakening, and I
Hmm.
did notice other numbers afterwards. And I've seen them before, but I never felt them before.
Okay.
So I would say soon after the 11:11, and me waking up and, like I said, listening to something and then seeing the clock and then a friend saying something passing by and then seeing the clock. I noticed that when I started to make different efforts to communicate again and be more detailed about the next prayer and what were the next
Yeah.
steps, that's when I started seeing the other numbers.
Yes.
So my detailed prayers were, okay, I realized this is a message, but I need it to be a little bit more personal.
Yeah.
I started asking for more personal details so that I know that I'm
Hmm.
not just making this up in my head
Hmm.
and I'm not just kind of like wanting to see something. I want to know something.
Okay.
So I started testing the spirit of what was trying to provoke me to ask more questions.
Okay. Okay. Now, for me, it was different for me because I was raised in a spiritual church where we believed in angels and all this, angel and archangels and the saints. So I knew about all of that, but I'd never heard of 1111. So when I started seeing it, I knew immediately to do my research. And that's when I ran into Ralph Smart. That's when I ran into what's the other lady's name? What's her name? Oh my
Abraham
goodness.
Hicks.
Abraham Hicks. Yes, yes. I ran into her and then I started listening and receiving what they were saying about it. And it started to make sense to me. It was like, okay, you're now awakened to a newness inside of you. It's like
Yeah.
another level. It was
Yes.
another level because I had already had the gift of prophetic. I knew about the gift of healing. I
Hmm.
knew about the gift of speaking, preaching, but I didn't know about 1111 and how it would affect you and what it meant to be enlightened,
Mm.
to be enlightened. So
Mhm.
I was thinking, I'm like, is that mean that you just understand more? But it's so much more than that. It's more than just understanding more. It's more than just understanding more. It's more about spirituality,
Yeah.
another level,
Mhm.
because we go through so many levels.
I
And
would
for those of
compare.
you that are just coming in tonight, this is our retreat week. The whole week, we're having a retreat week. Yes, hello everybody. So I'm not doing angel numbers. I'm doing our retreat week, just as if we were at a retreat. Hence the background. So I'm gonna ask all of you to come up. I've already pinned the StreamYard link in there, and I'm talking to Jared right now about 1111 and his initial spiritual awakening. So I want all of you to come up and discuss your spiritual awakening with me, and so that we all can be enlightened of what we all went through to see if we all went through the same things.
Yes.
Because with my awakening, I kept seeing it. I kept waking up at that time, or either it would be like almost like my clock stopped on that time. I'm like, why? Why I keep seeing this? And it was right after I had my stroke.
Mm.
So I really was confused. I was like, what is this? What is this? Hello, conscious business services and opportunities. So yes, I didn't understand it. So you don't just see it one time, guys. You'll see it repeatedly until you get the full message. Until you get the full message. Your message may be a sentence. Somebody else's message may be a whole paragraph. Somebody else may need a whole book. It depends where you are in your life and what you're going through. This is when God allows you to awaken up and find out why you're going through what you're going through. If you're going to another level, what your spiritual gifts are. It tells you all these things. So these are the type of things that a spiritual awakening talks about. That's what it does for you. Some people call it enlightenment. Enlightenment, right? Some people call it enlightenment. Some people call it uh, a spiritual awakening, a bliss, nirvana, right? Where you step back and you awake and you see what's the purpose of my life. Have you guys heard many people ask that question? How do I find out what's my purpose in life? What am I here to do? Well, when you start having these spiritual awakenings, this is what you start to figure out what you're here to do. You were not sent here just to work for somebody else and pay your bills and eat and love your family and die. That's not your whole purpose. You're here to do make a difference in the world. So my question to all of you now is, including you, Jared, what is your purpose? What is your purpose in life? What is your purpose? What do you think God wants you to be here to do?
Well, for my case, I know that I have multiple purposes, but I know one in particular that is major is to continue to enlighten others and awaken other beings to their
Mm.
purposes, to inspire other people to wake up to their purpose.
So, question on that. Do you think that other people can awaken you, or do you think it's a personal spiritual awakening? Now, Love to Travel with Waves just said love for humanity. She's here to give love for humanity. And I believe if you're here to give love for humanity, then you're here to bring people together as one. There it is, the oneness.
Quick
The
side note:
oneness. Yes.
before getting on the live, I actually I'm working my job right now, you guys, and I'm off on the weekend, so this would be last Friday. Last Friday, as I was doing my job that I'm doing now, I was walking, and anytime I'm walking and I'm by myself doing what I can do, because I have free time to get on the live, such as now, I pray. And last time when I was walking, I was asking God. I said, God, if you want me to continue doing what I'm doing, and if you want me to grow further and go further, I need you to create an opportunity for me to know that I'm supposed to continue to ascend. I need it so specific that I don't have to search for it. I need it to come to me.
Wow.
Prior to getting on the live,
Mm-hmm.
there was a older gentleman who came into the building and
Mm-hmm.
he was delivering a package for a certain specific celebrity.
Okay.
And I spoke with him briefly. I helped him out. And afterwards, he looked at me and he said, "You know what?" He said, "You have a kind spirit. You have a kind heart." He said,
Mm-hmm.
"What do you do outside of here?" I said, "Well, I do this job. I sing, I act, I dance, I do a lot." I said, "I have no days off." I said, I'm running my own business and I'm doing a lot of things." He said, "I'm a spiritual teacher." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes. I've been doing my practices for over 20 something years now." He's 60 something. He's
Wow.
done martial arts. He's been to India 14 times. He's been taught by gurus. He's been
Okay.
taught by saints. He's really in his purpose. He
Mm-hmm.
came up to me. He said, "When I come back from delivering this package, can I speak with you for a moment?" He said, "Do you have a moment?" And I said, "Yes." He invited me out to the car.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I knew, that the thing that I had prayed for last Friday was happening on this Monday. He gave me certain enlightened knowledge books that I was speaking upon this morning with my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And he invited me to certain events that are going to happen for spiritual teachings this upcoming end of May. And like I said, I've been raised Christian, but
Mm-hmm.
the whole conversation was about when you look up at the sun in the sky,
Mm-hmm.
you, Angel, could be at a 94-degree axis, and I
Mm-hmm.
can be at a 64-degree axis on the earth. We're on opposite sides.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that the part of the sun that you're looking at is not the
Mm-hmm.
part of the sun that I'm looking at. We have two
Wow.
different perspectives. So your truth is
Deep.
correct, and my truth is correct. And we
Mm-hmm.
put it together, it is the whole truth. And that is the oneness that you just spoke about.
Yes.
No one's
Because
wrong.
we're no one's wrong and we're all one. We're all a part of the body.
Even when it comes to certain religious teachings, people kind of become biased upon the way that they were raised or the way that they were taught or the under the certain circumstances of their culture and the way that they were taught. And sometimes we can be blinded by that because of culture,
Yeah.
programming,
Yeah.
ritual practices from family members who have passed stuff down onto us as kids going into
Mm-hmm.
our adulthoods. And
Yeah.
we can become fixated on just learning in one way.
Yes.
And when you
And
learn in one
Jared,
way, mhm,
and Jared, when we were growing up, I don't know about, I can't speak for everybody. When I was growing up, you had to go one way and that was the only way. But as I grew older, I learned that there are many ways to enjoy your spiritual awareness, your
yeah,
spiritual journey. We each
yeah,
have our own spiritual journey. And so many people think that they have to be perfect in order to have a spiritual journey, and you do not. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to live a perfect life. You do not have to be a certain kind of way, dress a certain kind of way, talk a certain kind of way. You do not. And you can still have the spiritual awakening because this is when some of the signs. Let's talk about some of the signs.
mhm,
The feeling of being disconnected or detached.
Mm.
Now, I know I felt that all my life because I felt like I was disconnected and detached from everybody else
Like
because
the
I
black
felt,
sheep.
yes, yes, yes. It's overwhelming, it's confusing, and it's a point where you come to you think everything in your life was a lie. Everything you learned was almost like a lie. It's like, okay, so I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to um not do a lot of things because sometimes people feel like they have to be a certain way and I can't enjoy my life. God wants us to enjoy our life and be more abundant. And in order for us to be more abundant, we have to use the gifts that He gave us. So when you use the gift that God gave you, that's where your abundance will come from because you'll be using it naturally. Naturally, it's a natural thing, and
Yes.
it's nothing you have to learn because you'll do it on your own, and it'll just come up out of you because what's front in the heart reaches the heart.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. You feel the disconnection and the detached. I see that Love to Travel with Waves says she discovered that. Conscious Business says, yes, I can relate to that. And Uniquely Ladder says she loves this. It's true. It's true. Now, the second part of it is that you reevaluate your beliefs. When like with me, I was raised in a what they used to call a sanctified church, right? Church of God in Christ, whatever. I was born there. So um so apostolic. So you have certain ways you do things, you wear your dresses a certain length, you don't show your elbows and everything. And at the point, it gets to a point where you're like, if somebody's going to like you, they're gonna like you whether you show your elbows or not. They're gonna like you whether you show your knees and your thighs or not. They're gonna like you anyway. And I learned that all those things were ritualistic. They were rituals. You come in, hey, nerdy drip. You come in, you say a certain prayer, you sing a certain
Uh-huh.
song.
Practices
Y-
and rituals.
Yes, yes, yes. And here it is. We are to worship God in spirit and in truth. I don't see the word ritual in spirit and in truth. If your spirit tells you to love God a certain way, that's the way you're supposed to, because we're all individuals. Yes, coach. Yes, yes. Uplift and Inspire said his father is Kojic. I was raised apostolic, which is right next to Kojic. Kojic is a little bit deeper. But in so doing, there's there's rules. There's rules. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't. You can't. You can't. You can't. There's more rules saying that what you cannot do than what you cannot do. You can do. So I was always thinking, when does living more abundantly come? When do you start living abundant? How can you be abundant and you're up under somebody else's thumb who's hiding what they're doing? Come on now. They're hiding their sins. They're hiding what they're doing because they are trying to live perfect before man and make you think that that's how it's supposed to be. Now, Nordic Drip, you can come up too if you want. There it is. Nordic Drip Coaching says our life is defined by our perceptions of it.
Yes.
Wow.
This is going back to what I was saying about you're 94 degrees of the sun and I'm 64 degrees. Now, if we're on opposite sides of the earth, we're looking at the same sun, but the way your practices and your culture is teaching you is when you're looking at the sun, you have to wear this and you have to put on this and you have to say this. And the way my practices is teaching me is when I'm looking at the sun, I have to wear this and I have to put on this and I have to say this. But the reality is it's the same sun.
It's the same sun. It's the same God. It's the same God.
The only
God
difference
that
is
created you created me.
people might sometimes be engulfed in their egos. And so many times over the centuries and the history of times, people want to create and dominate and rule. And
Mm-hmm.
whoever is has the most land back in the day would rule the land.
Mm-hmm.
So you would
Mm-hmm.
have to go based upon their teachings, their practices, and who was the leader of that ruling.
Right.
Um,
Rules are made to keep people in line and to keep people doing what the ruler wants them to do. When in fact, we're all human and we're all free to do what we want to do in life. However, we want to serve God or whatever you call God to be in your life. That's your relationship with Him, with her. And your relationship is not for anybody else to tell you how to have that relationship. When a man marries someone, it's not for anybody to tell him how to deal with his wife or her to deal with her husband. That's between man and wife, correct? So, so when we are having a relationship with God or whatever deity we call him to be, then that's our personal business. And I don't think it should be a regiment to say, oh, this, you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. No, 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 no. We are free. We don't have a way that we are to serve him. He just said, worship me in truth and in love. And if your truth is you getting on your knees and holding your hands up, that's your truth. If your truth is standing up looking at the sun and thanking him for everything he's done, that's your truth. You know, if your truth is being before a statue or whatever, that's your truth. Everybody has their own way of serving.
yes.
Everyone. Now, let's talk about dreams. Dreams. After you saw 1111, did your dreams change?
Not not too much. Only if I was actually praying for something to be either revealed or
Hmm.
if I was desperately asking for something and I really wanted to understand what I was asking for.
Right.
Most of my dreams were prophetic, and some
Hmm.
of my dreams were because I ate something that I wasn't supposed to.
Now, can you explain to the angels what it means to be prophetic?
Yes, to be prophetic means to dream of an event that has not come to pass. Meaning, you could be living your life and then you do your everyday task and you go home and you go to sleep. And when you dream of a future event that hasn't happened. And then as you wake up, continue your task and do your everyday, day to day things, that event that you actually dreamt of happens in your real life. And you have a whole deja vu. Now, I explained this last time. A deja vu is when you have an event that feels familiar and it feels common. So it feels like it happened before. A deja vu is when you dream of something and that thing actually happens the way you dreamt it.
Wow. I've never heard of a deja vu.
Hmm. Yes, if you can, guys, look this up. If you have a notepad, everybody in this live, if you can, take out your notepads and write things down. Because this is a time where you want to continue your spiritual journey so that you can learn these things and teach it to other people because God wants to use you to enlighten other people as well. Like I said, there's a deja vu and there's a deja vu. They're two different types of things. And once you get these things down, you'll be able to enlighten someone else and they can better understand and further their education of what's happening to them.
Mm, okay. Okay. Synchronicities. Synchronicities. You said deja vu and deja vu. So when you're dreaming, you're still awake, but you're not. Your body's
Yeah.
not, but your soul's awake. Okay. And you start to feel things, get a feeling about. I have a feeling about things. You can apply for a job and you'll get a good feeling about it, or you'll not feel good about it. Do you agree that we should go with our feelings, or do you think that we should do it a little differently, more so than feelings?
I would say there's always a balance to it because are like your feelings are like the engine to your boat.
Yes.
The boat would necessarily be the the thing that you're in. It's the boat is necessarily saying like once you're in the boat, it's saying, God, I'm willing to go on a spiritual journey.
Mhm. Mhm.
The engine of the boat is saying, God, I'm using this engine to figure out which direction to go.
Yes.
So you can get in a boat and not know which direction you want to go.
Yes.
And most of the time, that's what's happening with people on their spiritual journeys is they just get in the boat and they didn't start the engine because they don't know which direction they want to go.
That's right. And everybody can't go in your boat. This is something you guys got to know. Everybody's not going to go with you in your boat, and it's okay. It's okay if they don't want to go with you the direction that you're going. You're growing, and you're going to meet a new group of people who are going to be on the same level you're at.
And
Okay?
most of the time, I want to throw this in there as well. Most of the time, that person who you left, they're going to be in their own boat too. You're going to see them. You're going to see them. You're going to be like, hey.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, the other thing is, I'm gonna speak for the women toward the men. When a man is seeking a wife, he tends to see someone who is able to mesh with him. So everything that he lacks, she has. Everything that she lacks, he has. So they become one. And what happens when they become one is they become one person. A lot of times people think, oh, it just means they become one. No, no, no. It's one person
I also want to throw
because,
this in there as well because, as I spoke to the older gentleman who I was speaking about, like I said, I get downloads as well.
mhm,
Certain people have come on earth to marry, and
mhm,
there's certain
mhm,
people who didn't come to earth to marry.
mhm,
There's certain
mhm,
people who devote their life to God,
Mm-hmm.
and they never had sex.
Mm-hmm.
They never created a child, but they
Mm-hmm.
have given creation by giving their life to God.
Yes.
And in
Yes.
that sense, you can be whole all by yourself. You can,
Mm.
but it's a choice because the wholeness, the other half of you is filled by God. The other
Mm.
half of you is where God fills the empty void. But like I said, that's a choice because we have free will and you can choose to marry, and that is good. It is good. And you can actually choose to be on your spiritual journey, and that's good too.
That's true. That's true.
But
That's true.
as I stated and as Angel stated, it's more of a commitment to yourself and to God. Both of these relationships are still both commitments to yourself and to God. They're the
True.
same things. But the
True.
thing that I want everybody to take from it is about committing. You can't just get in the boat and then just jump out the boat.
No.
You can't be like, oh, I don't like this boat,
Mm.
and jump out the boat when you done committed on the land and said, I'm gonna get in this boat. Now, granted, if your boat has a hole in it, if your boat has a hole in the sail, or if some parts are missing, sometimes you can pray for God to fix these things, and that He will give you the resources and the tools to manage and fix those things. And
And
sometimes,
sometimes he wants you to go through it.
sometimes, and then sometimes God will tell you, get off that boat. I set it on fire. I want you to get off that boat because I have a better boat for you, but I need to teach you how to swim.
Okay,
Or I
we
need
need to talk about intuition as well.
to. Hmm.
Intuition. Intuition, where you have a feeling about something and or a feeling about someone. Have you ever experienced intuition? And I'll tell you mine. And you guys that are out there, there's a link in there if you want to come up and be a part of the conversation, which this retreat. So you feel free to do that. Okay. So what do you think about that, Jared?
I believe that intuition is definitely a gift. I do believe that we all have it, but it's just
Mhm,
like a muscle.
mhm.
If you don't strengthen that muscle, it's going to be weak. If you don't lift more than 30 pounds a week and somebody hands you a 100-pound box, you won't
You're
be
not
able to
gonna
lift.
handle it.
You're not going to
Mm-mm,
be able to lift that box. I don't care how much mind power you think you have. Physically, by laws, you won't be able to lift that box.
true.
So, I've learned through my gift of intuition how to sharpen and strengthen it by going through trials and tribulations.
True.
God has set certain boats on fire in my life, and He was like, I need you to swim right now. And then there were certain times I was swimming and I was like, I can't swim no more. I can't swim. So He told me to stop swimming, and He said, I'm going to teach you how to float.
Wow.
I'm going to teach you how to float. Just stay calm. I'm going to teach you what
Hmm.
peace feels like.
Hmm.
So I've learned how to swim. I've learned how to float. I've learned how to navigate a boat.
So you
Now,
learned more about you, though. You learned more
uh
about
huh.
yourself.
Now I'm in the
Wow.
process of learning how to walk on water.
Hmm. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's what I was going to talk about. When you're awakened, this is when you start to feel all your gifts, and you start to utilize the gifts that you have in your life. You start to utilize the gifts, and as you use them, the more you use them, the stronger they become, guys. The stronger they become. Hold on.
I'm still here. Sorry about that.
Okay. The more you use your gifts, the stronger they become.
Yes.
And as they become stronger, then you learn how to use when to use them and how to use them to your ability, right?
Yes.
You become in tune with yourself.
Yes.
This is why I often say to you guys, to your own self be true. Now, if you're doing something and you're doing it to make somebody else happy, you're not being true to yourself and you'll end up being miserable. And I don't want anybody, any of my angels to be miserable. I want you to enjoy your life. So, if there's anything in your life that is making you miserable just by doing that, then you need to reevaluate what you're doing
Mm.
and realize the fact that your life is ultimately your own. You can use it to help other people, but at the end scheme of things, your life is your own. You agree with that?
Completely.
Yeah, everybody has their own spiritual path. Now, Nordic Drift says also the food we consume and what we put our focus on messes with our energies flows in and out. Yes.
This is what I was mentioning earlier about eating certain foods and it affecting your dream state.
Hmm.
The guy that I spoke to earlier that I mentioned, when I
Hmm.
spoke to him, now my one of my best friends, he's a vegan, and I realized to be a vegan is a dedication and a devotion.
Hmm.
It's not just about it's not just about eating, but it's about serving your spirit.
Yes.
And when I was speaking to this guy earlier, who was a spiritual teacher,
Hmm.
he started naming all the animals that eat meat. And he asked me, he said,
Mm.
do you know what these animals have in common? And I started thinking about it and I was like, well, they eat meat. He was like, yes, but what is the trait that they all have? And I was thinking, and then he answered it. He said, all of the animals that eat meat, they have sharp teeth and
Hmm.
they move up and down.
Hmm.
He said,
Hmm.
all the animals that eat plants, if you
Hmm.
notice, all the animals in the history of time that eat plants,
Hmm.
haven't you noticed that they're the biggest animals?
Yes, like the dinosaurs.
Like the dinosaur, the triceratops, you can think about the giraffes, the
Hmm.
gorillas,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
whales.
Hmm.
Now, whales eat plankton. People don't realize they might catch a few fish, but they're not trying to catch the fish. They like to eat the bottom of the plankton. They like to clean the ocean. But the
Oh.
biggest animals on Earth, they
Hmm.
all eat they all eat vegetables. They all eat plants. And he was sharing with me, and my friend was sharing with me that when you eat plants, plants are the number one creation that God created. Of course, par with humans. But plants absorb light.
Hmm.
And when you
Hmm.
absorb light, and when
Hmm.
we come from light in the spirit,
Hmm.
your body becomes lighter. Your
Yes,
spirit,
being out in the sun.
your
Yes.
spirit becomes lighter.
Hmm.
You're able to do more when you eat less meat. Our teeth, the way our teeth are designed, they're not really
Hmm.
designed to eat meat.
Yes, they're not that strong.
He was saying how the animals who eat plants, their teeth shift side to side. They don't go up and down.
Wow.
Our teeth, when
Mm.
we're eating, they actually
Hmm.
shift side to side. Now, when we're eating a steak or something, we have to chomp on it. I know,
Yes,
but this is what I meant by like you have to do your own research to kind of. That's why I stated the animals because the animals are the number one things to learn from when you think about spirituality or you think about martial art practices or you think about
because they were created before we were.
yes. And so when you take note of these animals who work in their natural instinct because that's their natural instinct to do what they were designed to do, you notice that all the animals who eat plants, some of them might have sharp teeth, but it's not as sharp as a carnivore. A carnivore animal like a lion or a tiger or a bear,
Hmm.
their teeth are
Hmm.
extra sharp.
Hmm.
Not just
That's
sharp, but
right.
they're extra sharp.
Extra sharp. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They're designed to
Yes.
tear into things.
Hmm.
Now, I
Mhm.
had to, like I said, enlighten my own self on this, because the foods that are created, especially within America, that people don't understand, it's not always the healthiest. And the way that this country is run is not
Mhm.
always on a health tip. It's more of how much can I sell, how much can I buy, how much can I gain from this profit if I sell this way. Let's
So
cut
it's
this.
money oriented.
Yeah, let's cut these corners. If I'm gonna give you
Mhm.
something, I'm gonna give you the artificial flavor. I'm not gonna give you the real thing. So I'm gonna give
Right.
you a chemically altered version of the real thing. So your
Right.
body becomes accustomed to the falseness of something rather than the truth of it.
Mhm.
Your body
Mhm.
starts craving something false rather than truth. Now,
Yeah.
if you're taking that in a fleshly sense, you're going to take that in the spirit sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're more acceptable to believe something that's false than real because you're already eating false things.
Yes. And do you know that if you eat the wrong things, it can even mess with you, with your spirituality and with your
Yes.
prayers? It's harder to get a prayer through if you have overeaten or eaten the wrong things,
Yes,
you
he was
know?
going into that about the karma of actually, killing an animal and then eating it. Back in the old days, back in the ancient days, let's take it to Native Americans.
Mhm.
Before they actually, killed the animal, they actually prayed over it,
Mm.
and they used every piece of it. They harvested. That's what harvest means, to take every piece of that animal and to
Mhm.
use it, not to throw it away. They would use the bones. They would take the skin and use it as a coat. They would take the meat and use it as food for later, or they would turn it into jerky to provide for later. They would
Mm.
use every piece of that animal. And in that sense, after you prayed and used every piece of that animal, you are showing creation that you give thanks. You give
Yeah.
thanks to what you know, because you actually just taken a life from the earth, but that life was you prayed about it. You confessed that you know that what you're doing is a part of the circle of life, and you're not doing it in a vicious way. Most of
Yes.
the time, most of the time of the foods that we're eating now,
Mhm.
it's if you do your own research, you guys, when you can watch documentaries in it, animals right now are not in the most kindest places when they're being slaughtered. And like I said, when you can, take your time, do your own research. But you got to
Well,
realize
there's a different taste than the meat.
you have to realize. I watched a sermon one time, and this sermon was T.D. Jakes, and he taught this so well. And what he taught was, there was a guy who ordered a fish. He was very rich. Now, this fish that he wanted was from another region of the earth. And when the rich guy wanted the fish, he wanted it imported to his place, and he wanted to eat the fish because he tasted it before when he was in that region of the place. But when he
Mhm.
got it imported to his home, the fish didn't taste the same. It was the same
Mm.
fish from that same region, but he got it imported. And he tried to figure out, why wasn't this fish the same as when he tasted it before? Now, this is a breakdown, okay?
Okay. Break it on down.
When he broke it down, what he stated was, the fish that he wanted, that he tasted from the region that he first got it from, the
Mhm.
reason why it tasted so good was because
Mhm.
that fish was not only in its natural habitat, but that fish had a predator. And when that fish is in uh when that fish is surrounded around predators, they have to consistently move. They have to move
Mm.
in a conducive way to keep survival. So the
Mm.
fish tasted different
Mhm.
because there was a predator chasing after it.
Wow. So because the predator chased it, it had
Tastes
like
different.
fear in it. It has a taste of fear in it because
Now,
it
people don't
died
realize
in a fear state. Wow.
people don't realize that when a lion, now you can look this up, when a lion
Stress fish. Yes.
When a lion is looking for something, it's going
Hmm.
to chase. It has to chase. It's not going to attack you if you're not running. Just
Okay.
like a dog. You know, when people say don't run,
Hmm.
it's trying to provoke fear. And once it provokes fear in you, that's when it attacks.
Ah.
Now think about this. Now let's take it into the spirit.
Hmm.
When you have the devil on your prowl
Hmm.
and you're running,
Hmm.
you scared.
Oh yeah.
So there's a different type of energy, right?
Right.
So he's able to devour that because there's fear in that.
Hmm.
But when you sit down and you're calm and you start praying, that's what pray is. You become the prey. You start praying.
Mm.
That's what praying is. You
And
are
you
praying
make
on,
make that enemies afraid
yes.
because the enemy is like, why isn't she scared? Why isn't he afraid? Hmm. They must know something I don't know.
No, yeah.
You
And people
know.
don't realize that that's a part of what's going on. Not just, that's why I say you can learn from the animal kingdom. What's happening in the spirit is it tries to provoke fear because there's a certain type of element that it needs from you in order
Hmm.
to get you in a certain state of mind spiritually, and a certain state of uh, uh, chemically altered in your body, because we're talking about
Hmm.
body, mind, and spirit.
Hmm. Hmm.
It needs you at a certain access point in order to actually attack you.
Yes. Yes. And that reminds me of like a situation between a couple when one person is being domineering to the other person, and the
Yes.
other person is constantly afraid of this person. Then something clicks in that person. And they're like, I'm not going to be afraid of you anymore. I'm not going to take this anymore. They get that I'm not going to take it anymore in them, and they decide, you know what? Today is your day.
Mm-hmm.
Today is your day. I'm not
Now, when
taking
you
it
switch up
anymore.
on them, when you switch up
Mhm.
on them, they get
Mhm.
scared.
Yes. Yes,
They
because
get
they
scared.
know that they've hurt you. They know that they've put their hands on you. They've done whatever they had to do. But they know that you've come to the point where you're going to retaliate. That's what they're afraid of. What is this person going to do to retaliate? I know all the things that I've done. I know all the things I've said. I know all the things I didn't do and how I acted. Now, when they retaliate, what are they going to do to me? And that's where that fear shifts. The shifting of the fear.
Now, not it's not just the shift, but notice that the energy has converted off of you onto them.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. It's
Mhm.
converted. You transferred.
Mhm.
You gave it back to them because they was putting it on
Spiritual
you.
transfer.
Yeah, you
Spiritual
gave it back.
transfer. And we have talked about spiritual transfers before.
Yes.
And instead of allowing yourself to feel what somebody else is putting towards you, you can do a shift and send that right back to them, right? You can send it back to them or send it to the ethers or wherever it needs to go away from you because you don't have to receive it. So many times we feel that we have to receive things from people, and you really don't. If somebody's being mean, if somebody's being cruel, or anything like that, you don't have to receive that. I mean, you don't have to even say verbally no. You can just in your spirit be like, no, I'm not even paying attention to you. I'm not even listening to you. I don't hear what you're saying because what you're saying is not conducive to my spirit. And your spirit is what's important. Once you guys get in touch with your spirit, you can do anything in life. You can do what you came here to do. Inspire the way you want to inspire. Because, see, God gives you the gift and then He gives you the desire for it. It's just like somebody says, mm, I got a taste for some greens. I don't know why I want some greens. That's because they need the iron. Or they may say, I have a taste for some grape juice. I don't know why. That's because your blood needs that. See, we have an inner system that allows us to want the things that we need in our lives to make us happy and healthy, spiritually aware. Because spirituality is just like physical. It has to be exercised. You have to exercise your spirituality. Okay? Your spirituality affects your physical, your emotional, and your energetic stimuli. It tunes into all of that. Okay? This is when your senses are heightened. Like when you guys see me, when I go into the spirit and God speaks to me for something for you guys, that's because I have tuned in with my mind, my body, and my soul into listening and being obedient to God. And when you have tuned yourself in to be obedient, then this is when He will give you the desires of your heart, mind, and soul in order to help other people in the world and help yourself. See, now, whew, let's see. Your outlook on the world. You may start to see the world in a different view. You may start to see the world in a different view. You may start have some of you started looking up in the sky and seeing different shapes of the clouds and seeing different things in the sky. Those are the type of things that'll give you the spiritual awakening, encourage you to do, because it will encourage you to be more aware of the earth, more aware of the things around you, right? Sometimes you can look at the leaves, look at the grass, look at the flowers. Yes, Tiffany, I have been looking in the sky for a long time. I used to see animals in the sky. I used to see flowers in the sky. It would be like the clouds were in shapes of different things. Um, Now I've noticed, here I go. I've noticed that the clouds are different these days. Have you guys noticed it for like the past, what, 2 years now? Instead of being nice, fluffy clouds like my background back there, back here, they're straight. I have never, ever, ever saw straight clouds before in my life. I'm 61 years old and I've never seen a flat cloud. I'm like, what is this? Flat lines. And I'm like, what is that? Oh, yes, the sun loves to travel with waves. How many of you have sun gazed? How many of you have sun gazed? You have? I have two. I have two. Put a one in the chat if you enjoy sun gazing. It was something I had to do little by little because I couldn't stare at the sun for a long time because it would make my eyes tear. But now, yes, Nordic Drip, they're playing with the climate. Yeah, exactly. 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 Yes. Good evening, Halatuluna. Yes. But as they play with the planet, as they play with the climate, as they play with all these things, do you think God is going to be angry because of that? Would you be angry if you created something of great and someone came and changed this and changed that and changed this of your creation? Yes, Vera. Yes, uplift and inspire. Yes, yes, the sun. I would be angry If I created something as wonderful as this world, and then somebody decided they wanted to make changes to my creation, what do you think God is going to do? What do you think God is going to do? Being the creator of all things, and now to have his creation that he created from dirt, so they say, to come in and try to destroy what he created. You see, I just wonder what it is that God is going to do for the earth in this instance. In this instance, this is our newfound curiosity, because once you become awakened, you start having these kind of questions in your mind. You start wondering, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why isn't this happening? And why isn't that happening anymore? And you start to wonder, well, God, what are you going to do about it? And I just believe that He is going to do something about it. Because if He made us to the point where we're upset if somebody messes with something that we created, like a painting or like music with you. If somebody took your song and just disintegrated it and changed it and then put your name on it, that would make you upset, right? Well, that's what they're doing. That's what's happening in the world. That's what's happening. You would wipe it all away. Love to travel away, so she'd wipe it all away. Well, that happened in the days of Noah, right? That happened in the days of Noah. Yes, you start asking questions and not just being a yes ma'am and a yes sir. That's right. That's right. You come to a point where you're like, something's just not right. Something's just not right. It doesn't feel right. You know, the rain, when it falls down on me, it feels different. It doesn't feel the same. You know, the leaves on the trees don't look the same, you know. But we have to believe and know that everything is going to be uh, known. We're going to find out exactly what is really going on, guys. It's going to be another awakening, and we will know in the end about what's going on, right? Now, I want to talk more about the spiritual awakening, the processes and the stages of awakening, okay? We've talked about when you start to see 1111, and how after you see that some of your habits may change, some of your relationships may change, some of the old ways of believing things may change for you. You may not believe things as you used to anymore, right? So turn this off, sorry. So what happens is that we start to see things in a different light. We start to see things in a different light, right? We start to invite new things into our lives, and we start seeing things differently, like the 1111, like angels, understanding archangels, understanding propheticness, understanding healing, what it is, what it really is, which is a transfer of healing to somebody who's not well, right? Right? So when you're praying for somebody, you're actually transferring a good spirit to them to feel better, right? You're recabulating. Help me. Recabulator, I'll write it. I can't say it. Recalibrating. That's it. Recalibrating. Yes. Changing, right? Stripping away all aspects of the ego. See, when you have ego working for you instead of your soul, that is you doing things that you want to do and you don't care how it affects other people. You don't care. That's where the challenge comes in. Yes, Vera, exactly. But once your ego hits rock bottom and there's nowhere to go but up, it will force you to make a real change in your life because we get tired of going through the same things. Hey, James Money. Hey, Brian. You get tired of going through the same things over and over and over and over. And you're like, I need a change in my life. I need my life to change. Well, we cannot expect change and keep doing the same things over and over and over. Okay? We have to awaken. Hence 11:11. 11:11 lets you know that you have awakened. See, when God sees that you've gotten tired, you're tired of living the same way. You're tired of doing the same things and not getting a different solution. You change jobs, change jobs, and the same situation follows you. And you have to do something different because if you don't do something different, you'll keep getting the same results. And that's insanity, guys. We want a different result. So, in order for us to have a different result, we have to make real changes in our lives. We have to do things different way. If door number 2 and door number 3 isn't opening, we got to try door number 1 and door number 4. If where you're living isn't giving you everything that you need, then maybe you need to move. These are things that may seem like they're common sense, but common sense is not common because everybody doesn't understand that. They think that life is just a challenge. I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going with it. And that's not what you have to do. Sometimes God is telling you to go left when you keep going right. Okay? But you have to realize that it's not time to go right because there's a time for all things. There's a time for all things. So we got to try something different. We got to try different hobbies. We may have to try different religion. We might have to try a different relationship. But you have to figure out what meshes with your spirit. Because what meshes with my spirit may not mesh with yours. What I love, you may not love. Hence the meaning that to thine own self be true. You have to be true to yourself, guys. When you are true to yourself, then you are living your truth. Can't nobody tell you what's not your truth because it's you. It's you, right? It's you. And the more you go within, is the more you go without. Meaning, the more you meditate and go inside, is the more you start to learn about yourself. And then you could take what you learned on the inside of you to operate on the outside of you and make those things that are not working for you work better for you. You have to learn yourself. You have to learn more about yourself. Then you can actually thrive. You can thrive then. Your true spirit can thrive, right? Soul sessions. These are called soul sessions where you sit with your soul, where you're quiet. You shut your mouth, you stop all that random thinking, and you connect with your soul. Connect with your soul. Because every day your soul is growing. Every day your soul is healing, right? The more you discover these routines in your lives, the more you discover what works in your life and what doesn't work in your life, and you surrender yourself to the things that are working, even if they don't go along according to what the family thinks it is what you should be doing, what the church thinks you should be doing. You have to come to your own awakening, your own awakening. Now, let's talk about how to make space for a spiritual awakening, how to make space for you to start your spiritual journey every day. Every day you have to do something leading up to your spiritual awakening, daily, weekly, monthly. Practices like meditation, being mindful. What is being mindful? To be mindful is when you're aware. You are aware of what is going on in your life. Spiritually, you're aware. You begin to notice the changes about yourself, right? And then you become grateful. See, it goes meditation, mindfulness, gratitude. You become grateful for the journey that you've gone on. So many times we're unhappy that we have gone through so many things in our lives, but don't understand that we had to go through those things to get the things that we're going to. See, there's a space that we're going to in our lives. In order to do that, we have to go through all these hurdles to go through that, to learn. Just like when you're in school, you have to learn the lesson in order to pass the class. So, with your life comes lessons. With your life comes lessons, right? And these spiritual awakenings will lead us back into balance with our true selves. You have to be at balance with your true self. And this is where you learn how to alleviate all the things that you learned and start fresh with your spiritual journey. Because sometimes what you've learned is not what you needed. It was just what that person knew how to teach you. But you have to, as they used to say, you have to see God for yourself. Find out what works for you personal. And then practice that self love, practice that compassion, right? And while you're doing that, be gentle with yourself. You didn't get here all this time just by going through the motions. It took time to get to where you're at right now. So, whatever you don't know, don't beat yourself up about it. Just learn whatever it is you need to learn. Trust yourself with the process, and then enjoy what comes out of that process. Enjoy that. Enjoy your inner guidance, your intuition, okay? Because these inner guidances, these intuitive nudges, they help you to harmonize and remove what no longer is as authentic in your life. Let me say it again. It helps you to harmonize and remove what is no longer authentic in your life. If there's something you've done for years and years and years, but it's not true in your life, it's not helping you in your life, it's not authentic in your life, it's not a part of you. You're just going through the motion. You have to stop it and do what really works for you. Okay? Do what really works for you. Bottom line. Spiritual awakenings are complicated. Spiritual awakenings are complicated because you have to learn how to draw down from your spirit, your physical. You have to get through your physical, you have to get through the mental to get to the spiritual. Your mind might be telling you something, your body might be telling you something, but your spirit is what you're trying to get to. Okay? While it may not be easy to become awakened spiritually, you have to know that when you do, it will improve your life. It will be life changing. It will be life changing. And the structure that you have learned over the years will not line up with that. So you have to do what your spirit is seeking. And you might have to do it with trial and error. You might have to do it with patience. Be patient with yourself. You didn't get here overnight. So it's going to take time for you to allow yourself to be spiritually awakened. So as you're finding yourself in the midst of a spiritual awakening, love yourself. Love yourself as yourself. Because when you do, you'll understand you're the way you are for a reason. Yes, some of it has been because of situations you went through in your life. Life has been hard for some of us. However, you still have everything inside of you that God put there. And you have to go back to the point of where God put that inside of you. In the apostolic church, they call that when you repent and you come godly sorry and you become saved. Okay? Spiritually is where you strip away. Ah, mm, where you strip away all of the things that people have hurt you. You strip away all of the things that people have said to make you cry. You strip away all of the pain that people did physically to you. You strip all that away and say, you know what? I'm going to come out of this. I'm not going to let what you did to me be a part of me anymore. Doggone it. I'm going to be who I am. And who I am is enough. It's more than enough. Because God made me the way I am. And I'm the way I am for a reason. So all you have to do is trust the process, hang on tight, and prepare yourself for a brand new awakened life. It's not going to be easy, but it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. It is so much better when you can be authentic in your life. You don't have to fake and be phony around people or anything else like that. You can just be you. And trust me, being you is so much easier than putting on a mask and being what somebody wants you to be. When you become you, when you become just being you, things will start gravitating to you that are conducive to who you are. For all you know, you may be a doctor inside, but nobody never motivated you to get to there. It's never too late. You may be a lawyer. You may be a faith healer. You may be a nutritionist. All of that is needed in the body. It's all needed. Bottom line, bottom line. We have to learn how to be who we are. Whether we laugh funny, whether we walk funny, whether we look funny, we have to learn to be who we are. And when we are, it'll be easier than trying to be something what people want us to be. So it's going to take patience, trial and error, and a bit of time, but you can do it. I know you all can do it. I know every one of you can do it. There's greatness inside of you. I see it and I know it. When I interact with you, I can tell that there's greatness inside of you. And inside that greatness is the wealth. This is why you don't want to be wealthy for just this for sake of being wealthy. There's a reason because you got stuff to do. You got things to do, and it's going to take money. So if you use your gift that God gave you, then you will get what you need to do everything that you have to do. Yes, uplift and inspire. Yes, yes, yes. Just be yourself. You're more than enough. You're more than enough. You are worthy to be the person that you are. So that's what I had to talk to you guys about. So, do you have any words, Jared, about how we can guide ourselves back to being authentic in our lives?
Yes. My advice to those who are listening and those who have come across the channel after the live would be to take notes, listen, and be more detailed in your prayers and the things that you're asking for. Because 9 times out of 10, God has already answered the prayer, but either you're not listening and you're not taking notes on the things that you actually want. Because more times we're asking for something and He's providing it for you, but you're missing it.
Yes,
Sometimes the answer to your prayer is in the vicinity of your daily task.
yes,
You might be going to work one day and you're praying to get on a new job, to be surrounded around new people. Well, maybe if you take a chance to open up your mouth and have a conversation with another person who you've never really connected to, that person's spouse might have that job that you're seeking for. And if you just communicate with them, they might put you on.
true,
But you have to
true.
be open and willing, because if
Hmm.
you get into a position that you have not, let me put it to you like this. If you have a plate of food on your table in front of you and you're already thinking about seconds, you have to clean your plate off first before you can receive the next plate.
Hmm.
Clean your plate off first.
Yes,
Finish the things that you have to do in front of you first. If you know that you have to spiritually cleanse yourself before receiving the next thing, it's okay. Take your time. If you know that your job is giving you problems, take some time to step away from your job. If you believe in yourself like you say you do, if you believe in God like you say you do, take the moment to give yourself rest and listen
yes, yes,
so that you can get in the right position. I'm going to speak to the people who like sports. If you're on the football field and you're the quarterback and you know the play, if the running back is not in the right position, or if the other players are not in the right position, you can't fulfill that play. You got to divert to another play and the team is going to be confused. Everybody needs to work accordingly. If you feel
Okay.
anxiety, you need to bind that spirit of anxiety. It's just a
Hmm.
spirit. You might be around other people who feel anxiety, and you need to get it off of you.
Hmm.
Some people might come to
Release
you
the
with their
storm of
worries and
joy.
troubles. You
Hmm.
need to start creating healthy boundaries for yourself so
Hmm.
that when you can give back, you can. When you can't, say you can't. You don't have to please everyone. You don't have to, it's better to be kind than to be nice. It is better to be kind than to be nice.
True. True.
So treat
I'd
yourself
like
with
to give,
kindness. I'm sorry.
that's okay. I'd like to give 8 ways to live a more authentic life to you guys. So get your pen and paper. I'm going to give you 8 ways of how to live a more authentic life. Number one, give up the act. I'll put it in the chat. Number
Oh, by
one
the way,
is
these were the books that I was telling you about that the guy gave to me. He gave me his card. This was his card.
okay. Okay. Very good.
And this was one of the books that he gave me.
All right. Hmm. Wow. Okay.
And he also gave me this book.
The art of spiritual life. Okay. Cool. So let me finish doing this. To give up the act is draining to present a version of you to all the various people in your life, trying to be someone you're not. You know, how different people that you're around, you act differently around different people, right? You have to be true authenticity. True authenticity. That's when you give up trying to please everyone and say, this is me, whether you like it or not. So give up the act of trying to be who people think that you are. That's number one. Number two is get comfortable with being vulnerable. Get comfortable with being vulnerable. Okay. It says there is no authenticity where there is no truth. And there is no truth where there is no vulnerability. So learn to lean into the discomfort of expressing how you feel, speaking up for yourself, and calling out all the mess in your life. Honesty and openness are oxygen for authenticity to thrive. Speak from your soul, and you never lack authenticity. It's that simple. So remember always, you're having a soul's journey. Your body is the catalyst, which is carrying your soul. Your soul is the one that's having the journey, not your body. Okay. Number three, Do it for you. Do it for you. All right. Now, if you want to live a more authentic life, you'll have to ditch, get rid of, alleviate those things that made you comfortable being inauthentic in life to begin with. That means shifting your priorities. Instead of just going on autopilot, it's time to trust your own intuition instead. If something doesn't feel right, there's a reason. Blaze your own trail. Don't let anybody else determine how your life should go, because your soul knows how your life should go. So that's why you have to be in tune with your soul. Okay? That's what genuineness is all about. You have to be genuine. If you do not like a situation you find yourself in, leave. If you go somewhere and it doesn't feel quite right, go. If you're talking to somebody and they're talking some gibberish that you really are not into, or it makes you feel a certain kind of way, in the conversation, because those are spirits. And what's a spirit reaches the spirit. And that's why, have you ever walked away from talking to somebody and all of a sudden you feel heavy? That's because while they were talking to you, they were sending you all their problems spiritually. Okay? This is why you start to feel that shift and not feel like yourself. Okay? Number 4, we're going to focus on connections, not possessions. People are not your possessions. You don't control anybody, and vice versa. Nobody controls you, right? Nobody controls you. You are not a possession. You're simply connected to people, okay? And if you are blessed, you will be around people who are connected to the same things you are connected to. This is why it feels great when we all come together here in this YouTube area, because we're all on one accord. When we talk about angel numbers, when we talk about spirituality, it feels good and we look forward to it, right? We talk about our experiences, our memories. We laugh together. We love together. We're happy together. We talk about healing. We talk about each other, what we mean to each other, the love we have as a group, right? Everything else doesn't matter, because between 2 to 3 hours, we're together, sharing, loving, being kind, enjoying ourselves, being authentic. Okay? So the next one is to be humble. To be humble. And we know that humility and authenticity go hand in hand. You didn't come out of your mother's womb bragging about your achievements and what you could do and how you were going to conquer the world. When you were born, you couldn't say anything but eh. You weren't talking about what you could do and trying to prove to other people what you could do. No, you didn't have that ego. That ego was learned behavior. Ego is learned behavior. There's room enough for everybody to do the things that they desire to do in life. There's more than enough room. So, if you want to live a more authentic life, approach everything through the lenses of humility and curiosity. Humility and curiosity. Okay? Become an explorer, feeling your way through the twists and the turns of the jungle of this thing we call life. Explore your life, enjoy your life. It all starts with the willingness to step back and cultivate what you have inside of you. Okay? So, number 6, act and don't react. Act and don't react. It says you can't live an authentic life if you're constantly riding on the coattails of what other people are doing. And in these YouTube streets, it's easy to do that. You look around and you see somebody else who's thriving and whose channel is growing, and they've got 10,000 subscribers and 5,000 views and all this stuff. It's easy to look at them and then look at your channel and go, wow, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to take the lead. Instead of being a follower, be a leader. What do you have inside of you that you can lead somebody, help somebody? There's something that each of us has inside of us that we can help somebody with. Instead of living according to everyone else's expectations, embrace your own intuition. Instead of basing your reality in relationship to those around you, act out of your own power. You are powerful. Use the power that you have inside of you. Use the gift that you have inside of you. This is your life. Start living like it is your life versus somebody else pulling the strings and telling you what time to get up, where to do this, and what to do this, and eat this, and don't eat that. It's your life. Next, give love first. Give love first. You know, so many times we're waiting on somebody to love us. Instead of waiting for somebody to love you, be more loving, right? One of the perks of living a more authentic life is learning how to give from your core. All of the qualities that make you uniquely you. When you give of yourself in this way, you honor and you lift everyone and everything you touch, including yourself, right? Pay someone a compliment. Take the lead organizing a trip. Surprise a loved one with a gift. You make the first move. We have to learn how to stop being the kind of person that's just waiting on somebody to do something for us. You are a force of love and compassion in this world. You are a force of love and compassion in this world. It is time to go forth and express it. It's time to go forth and express it. Okay? It's time. 8, and this is the last one. Embrace your imperfections. You're in the imperfections that you have them for a reason. You don't have to be perfect. You do not have to be perfect. Whatever you have done in your career is admirable. However you look, you're handsome, you're beautiful. The reason why you may be struggling with authenticity is because you're striving for perfection. Stop it. You don't have to be perfect. We love you as you are. And I hope you love me as I am. Okay? Because you'll never achieve perfection. Because guess what? The bar keeps raising. The bar keeps raising. You go higher and higher and higher. You'll drive yourself crazy if you keep trying to tweak every little thing about your life. You don't need to tweak anything. Accept the messiness of your life. Accept the complexity of your reality. Accept the beauty, wildness, the your funny laugh, your ability to understand. Accept how you are. And when you do all of that, that's when you will make your wild heart happy, beautiful. Okay? That's when you make your life more beautiful. And I'm going to put the link in here so you can go back and read it for yourself if you decide. It's a very good article. All right. It's a very good article. And I thought it was apropos because we need to know how to be our authentic selves. We need to know how to love who we truly are. We need to know. And we need to be that and allow that to be. Yes. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So, this is our first night of our retreat week, and we'll be back Wednesday, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Any last questions? Anybody have any last questions? I love that song. It makes me think of that song. Don't go changing the way your hair looks. Don't go changing, trying to please me. I love you just the way you are. Indeed. This is how we're supposed to be loved, just the way we are. And if you can't love somebody for the way they are, then leave them alone. Go find somebody else who's more to your taste. Okay? That's what it means. It means that. Yes. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Let me see what we're going to talk about next because to me, yes, of course. Um, oh, oh. We have 9 minutes left, guys. If you have questions, really quick questions, you can come up and ask your questions. All right? Come up and ask your questions. Um, and if you want to patronize, there is the link to the Cash App. Feel free to do that. Okay. So, uplift and inspire, if you wanted to come up right quick, you're welcome, Jared. Thank you for everything you did, co navigator. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Wednesday, we'll have someone else. Now, when I put the link out there, I want you guys to come up just as if we were in person, right? Just as if we were in person. All right. Now, hey there. Okay.
Hello.
What do you need?
I just, I'm confident that I'm making progress in my life. I just kind of need revelation of where I'm going because so much has changed within the past 12 months. I'm never certain. I'm just trusting the unknown as much as possible.
Okay. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to breathe in and out 3 times. Deep breath. I want you to take your hands and go down your face like this.
um,
Take your hands and go down your face like this.
well,
Both
hold on.
hands.
Give me 1 second.
Hmm. One more time. And now hold your hands down and I
Like,
want you to push it away. Push it away. Push it away. Now, I want you to know that you're constantly changing every day. Every day you are changing. Every day you've learned something. Every day you are growing physically, mentally, and spiritually. You're not who you were yesterday. You're not who you were last week. And you sure aren't who you were last year. You're constantly growing. So there's more growth to come. And what's to come is better than what's been. Your life is moving up like going up a mountain. And you're climbing higher and higher and higher every day. The thing I don't want you to do is to look down. Never look down from where you came from. Appreciate where you came from. Be gracious that you came from that, but never look back and never go back. You're not who you were. You've grown and you're continuously growing. Okay? You
Yes.
are you are more of a man now than when I initially met you. Remember, I know we're gonna go into the scriptures. When I was a man, I put away childish things. So you're no longer the boy that I met initially, what, 3 years ago? Before
Yeah.
you even started college. You have grown so much, Sovereign. You have grown so much, and you're not done yet. You're not done yet. There's so much ahead of you. There's so much before you. I called you doctor. I ain't forgot. I called you doctor because I saw that all around you. And you still can be that. But you need to focus and not be aware of all the stuff going on around you, people, places, and things, because that's not helping you. That's a distraction. Don't be so easily distracted. You do what you came here to do. You came here to earth to do something. Do it. Finish the job. Finish the job. That's it.
All right. I want to say thank you. I'm now officially a sophomore. Well, I just finished freshman year, so I'm happy about that. I I do feel more mature than I used to, but I have my moments where I'm looking down and I'm saying I don't really appreciate what I've been through, but then again, I'm grateful because I'm the
Don't
person I
worry
am
about
today.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not who you were. You're not who you were. You know. Yeah, there's some times where you're going to, fall back and maybe be angry about some things that may be trivial. It may not be maybe meaningless to somebody else, but they affect you. That's because you're a sensitive being. Most people who are spiritual are sensitive beings. This is how we hear what God is saying. This is how we feel what God is saying because we're sensitive and we allow ourselves to be sensitive. This is why you can hear. You have the gift of hearing. You also have the gift of vision. You have those gifts to help not only yourself but others as well.
So are these new gifts that I have, hearing and seeing visions, or have they always been there?
The, these are gifts you were born with, sweetheart. You were endowed with this. You came down here with this. And your intelligence is great. Don't I want one thing I don't want you to do before I get off this channel.
All right.
I don't want you to ever, ever, ever dumb down yourself. I don't care who's around and they think that you know everything and they think that you think you're better than everybody else. It doesn't matter. If you know something, you just know it. Okay? You know what you know because God gave it to you to know. You are intelligent. Be intelligent. You don't have to dumb down for nobody. Make them come up to where you're at. Don't you go down to them.
Alrighty. That's a great piece of advice, and I really appreciate your steps on how to be more authentic. I was visiting my mother for Mother's Day yesterday, and I love her very much, but her energy was just bringing me down, and I felt like I kind of had to be someone else, you know. But it was a pleasant experience overall. It's just interesting how this goes.
It's growing. It's growing. Your relationship are growing with you, and you'll learn how to navigate the waters. Everybody is not going to be who you want them to be, just
Yeah,
like you're not going to be who they want you to be. Let live, live and let live. There it is. Live and let live.
that's the motto right there. I love that motto.
There it is. There it is. Live and let live. So you wanna help me say the ending?
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Okay. I love you. I love
I
you.
love
I
you.
love you. From your head
Head all the way
to
to
your
your toes
toes and
and
everything
everything
within.
within.
This has been Angel Light
Like,
over Darkness 33 and Uplift and Inspire,
hello.
aka Sovereign.
Yes.
And we will see you Wednesday, 8 o'clock. And it will be our second day of our retreat week. Okay. If everybody can come, bring your questions with you. We'll be answering questions. And I will also have a session where we will have a word of prophecy for you guys. So that's Wednesday. So come Wednesday, come ready, and you won't have to get ready. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a great night.
I love you guys. I love you so much. Oh, wait a minute. Where's my ending? Sorry. Help me.
Uh,